world? Boyfriend back with another booty bonanza. A lot of stuff to cover this episode, and if you're wondering about the beard, it's because I'm dressing up like Macho Man Randy Savage for Halloween. So what do you guys think? Is it coming in nice? It's alright. It's alright. But it's not about the beard. It's about the pickups. So let's get down to it. Today we're going to start with handheld. As you know, I host the Cartridge Club Portable podcast every month where we play a plethora of handheld games. And every month we pick a new game, play through it, talk about it on the podcast in the forums at cartridgeclub.org. So if you want to get involved with that, that's where you go to check it out. And so not all of these will be covered on Cartridge Club Portable, but I love portable games. And so I'm always looking out for fun stuff to play. And this first one, I actually saw in a recent video by Billy from the Game Chasers. He did a Game Boy Hidden Gems video. And one of them looked really cool, and I was lucky enough to stumble upon it like a day or two after I watched the video. And sure enough, it's freaking awesome. And it is Battle Unit Zeoth. So this is a really fun game, and I think I paid, I want to say $7 for this, which is a great deal. Billy wasn't joking. This game rules. It's a side-scrolling shooter, and it's got this neat thing. Instead of you just kind of floating in the air, you're constantly fighting gravity, and so I want to say like the A button boosts you up, and so you're constantly having to boost up and down the screen and shooting, and it's super fun. For a shooter, it plays really well. I haven't experienced any slowdown, so highly recommend Battle Unit Zeoth if you happen to find it out there. Pick this one up. It's good. And that was it for Game Boy. I did happen to get one thing for the DS, and I got this for free, and I know very little about it, and I'm hoping you guys can kind of help me. So it's called an R4, and it's got a tiny little micro SD chip, and I guess this is a way to download ROMs and play them on your DS. I couldn't get it to work on my 3DS, but I got it to work on my DS Lite, and as far as I can tell, the only games that are loaded on this is like Pokemon Black, White, and Platinum, I think, and that's it. And so yeah, I have no idea how to add stuff to this or anything. So if you guys can help me out, please leave in the comments below any sort of link to a forum or something that would help me figure out how to use this to its full potential. So I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. I got a couple of things for the PSP. Again, these were just kind of given to me for free, and so why not? I'll take them. And they're a couple UMDs. The first is Final Fantasy Advent Children, which not a big Final Fantasy fan, and I've never watched this. I know this is like I want to say it's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. Am I right about that? I'm not sure. But maybe one day I'll, a lot of times I watch these things on planes or whatnot, or if I'm traveling, that's when I usually watch them. And the other one I got was the Family Guy, what is it, the Freakin' Sweet collection. So these are always good to have on the road, easy to watch, 20 minutes a pop for an episode. And yeah, I like Family Guy. Family Guy's funny. So that was cool. And then I picked up some stuff for Game Boy Advance. Now, on this, to piggyback on this video kick, I love the Game Boy Advance videos. I'm trying to get a full set. There are, to my knowledge, 35 that exist. I have about 8 or 9 right now, and then I'm adding these to the collection. The first of which is SpongeBob SquarePants Volume 1. So who doesn't love SpongeBob, right? And these things are so cool. I do. When I'm sitting at my desk working, which is this desk, I will take this Game Boy Advance SP, pop one in, set it down, and then as I'm working, I'll have it playing. I literally do that. I do. And it's really fun to watch these. So I got SpongeBob. I got Sonic X, which was the Super Sonic Hero. And I got Dragon Ball GT. So, and what is the Volume 1? I don't think there is any other volumes of the Dragon Ball GT. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And then the last thing I got, and this is really cool because this is one of those things that I was hoping I would find out in the wild, and I went to, I live in Los Angeles, and in Burbank, at this one game store called Game Realms, every other month they have this thing called the Valley Retro Swap Meet. And I was able to find this, and I picked it up for like $5, and now I have a complete copy of Metroid Prime Pinball for the DS, because I was missing the Rumble Pack. So, yeah, very cool. It was the first time I'd ever seen this out in the wild, and yeah, got it. I think $5 is a great deal for this, so I picked it up, and now when I play Metroid Prime Pinball, I can get the Rumble feature. I don't know. I guess that's cool, but it's a neat thing to have. And so that's what I got for the Game Boy Advance. Moving on to the 3DS, I only got one game, but it's a good one. Can you guess? It's the new hot thing that everybody wants to play. It's Metroid Samus Returns. And I have to say, I have played this already. I have beaten it, and it friggin' rules. What do you guys think? Have you played this? Does it live up to your expectations? It lived up to mine. Yeah, cannot recommend this enough. It's really cool. I've never played the Metroid 2 for the Game Boy, so I know this is kind of like a reimagining of that, but yeah, I love this. I love all of Samus's new abilities, and one of the great functions is the amiibo support. Now, I have a few amiibos. I think you can see them back here, and I've never used them. I've never used them on any game yet, and so and one of the reasons is I can't, because look, I got a 3DS XL, which is not a new 3DS XL, so it doesn't have amiibo support unless you have an NFC reader, huh? How about that? This is so weird and cool, but I picked it up, and I immediately put in all my amiibos. But to get the full support in Metroid Samus Returns, you gotta have the Samus amiibos. Those are the ones that unlock the cool stuff. And as you've seen before in Booty Bonanzas, I had Samus, and I had Zero Suit Samus, so I used those. But I was lucky enough to get myself the Samus Returns amiibos, huh? So I get full amiibo support on Metroid Samus Returns, and I can't get enough of that game. I can't wait to go back and play it again. It's cool because after you beat the game, you unlock, I want to say, hard mode and some other stuff, some art galleries and all that. So really fun. You get a chance, check it out. Totally worth it. And that's it for handheld. So now we're moving into consoles, and this first one came as a gift from a good friend, Chris Roberts. He came down to LA, and we actually went to WWE No Mercy for all you wrestling fans out there, which was fun. And as a gift, he gave me some ColecoVision games. Now, a couple of these I already owned, and I told him to take them back with him, but he totally forgot. Remember, Chris? Remember? You totally forgot a couple here I told you to take back, so I guess they're mine now? One is Turbo, like I said, already have that. And the other one is Time Pilot. So, but there was some that I didn't have, and this is them. Donkey Kong Jr. I don't think I have this one. I gotta dig out my ColecoVision stuff. This is the one I wasn't sure if I owned or not. But the ones I know for sure I didn't have was Cosmic Avenger. And for you ColecoVision fans out there, please tell me if these games are, which games I should be playing, because I'm not too up on the ColecoVision. I got Looping. I got, don't spoil anything. I got Slither. All right. And then finally, I think the coolest one was Pit Stop. It's kind of an uncommon ColecoVision game, right? It's got that weird label on it, not like the regular ColecoVision games. So yeah, what do you guys think? Have you guys played it? What's good? What should I play? You let me know. And then I got some discs. I like the demo discs, and if I run across them, I like picking them up. They're weird to have. Do I ever pop them in? To be honest, no. But I do like having them in my collection. I remember them fondly from when I was a kid. You'd get the PlayStation magazine, you'd get a demo disc inside. I have a lot of fond memories with that, and so demo discs, I have like a sentimental attachment to it, you know, and so I pick them up when I can, and I happen to stumble across, I don't even have a PlayStation 2, and this is for PlayStation 2. It's the Holiday 2004 demo disc. And some of the things that are on here is Ratchet and Clank, Up Your Arsenal, Jack 3, Star Wars Battlefront, Beautiful Joe 2. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. These next two are sealed. Well, kind of sealed. The seal is cracked, but they've never been open. It's a Dr. Muto demo disc. Again, don't have a PlayStation 2, know nothing about this game. And then Dance Dance Revolution Max, and that's a demo disc, not for resale. Dance Dance Revolution. This was cool. This is sealed too. This is a DVD player, version 2.10 for the PlayStation 2. I don't even know what this is. Do you guys know? What is that for? What is that for? I don't know. And then I got Final Fantasy VII Squaresoft on PlayStation previews. So this is for PS1 now. Another PS2 one, PlayStation Underground Summer Sampler. Yeah. And finally, I think this is the oldest one, and this is Interactive CD Sampler Pack Volume 3 for the original PlayStation. So that's one of the earlier ones. Pretty cool find, I think. Oh, it's got some stuff on the back. So it's got Twisted Metal 2, Crash Bandicoot, NCAA Football Game Breaker, Tekken 2. Pretty good demo disc. It's got some cool stuff on it. So yeah, that was all I got for the demo discs. Always fun to run across. Let's move on to, we're getting down to the meat and potatoes now. Let's do Nintendo Power. Going for a full set. Have roughly 35 left to get before I have a full set. And only picked up a few. 2 of them were actually upgrades. So a lot of these Nintendo Powers come with more than just a poster. Sometimes they have iron-ons, stickers, scratch and sniff. You name it. There's a lot of stuff to get. And so these were a couple that I had incomplete, and I happened to find complete copies. Also at the Valley Retro Swap Meet, where I got the Rumble Pack. And the first one is Volume 73. So, with Weapon Lord on the cover. Volume 89 with Mortal Kombat 3? Trilogy. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Yeah. And then the new one I got, and there's a little story behind this one, so I'll share it with you. So, and this is a little spoiler for something that's going to be coming up in a second, but another Cartridge Club member came down to LA to hang out, and that is none other than Matt Bandy. Matt Bandy, he's a cool dude. He came down one weekend, and we went all over LA doing a little retro game hunting, and we stopped at this one store. I won't say what because I don't want to bury them, but I went in there, and they had a few Nintendo Power magazines, which you don't run across in the wild that much. And so I thought, hey, this is cool. And they happen to have one, only one that I didn't have yet. And so I pulled it out, and I said, I went over to the employee working there, and I said, how much is this? And right in front of me, I hate this. They looked up eBay, and they gave me a price. And I don't know, I didn't know off the top of my head how much it was going for, but it seemed on the high end. So I was like, is there any way you can work with me on this one? Like, that seems pretty high. And they said, well, you don't have to get it. And I was like, yes, I suppose I don't. Thank you, employee, for helping me out here. So I went over, I went back to looking at some games, and I pulled up eBay because I was like, I do want to know how much this is going for. And sure enough, it was on the very high end, the number that this employee quoted me. So, but I also realized that this specific issue came with a bonus DVD, and any of the issues that come with bonus DVDs can be hard to find the DVD attached to it still. And I saw that this one did have the DVD in it, and I was like, oh, great. But I also noticed it didn't have the poster in it. And so I was like, do I actually even want to get this if it's not complete? The poster's ripped out, but that DVD is hard to come by. So maybe I'll get it, and then I can, like, take that DVD out once I get one with the poster, and then, you know, form a complete copy from that. So I went back over to the employee, and I was like, the poster's missing from this. Is there any way you can work with me on this? Bring it down? No. They just, no, flat out would not drop the price. And I was kind of like peeved by it. I'm like, look, I want to buy this. Don't you want to make this sale? Is this just, how long is this going to sit around? It's not complete. I'm offering to buy it, and you're just not working with me at all. And so I didn't end up getting it. And I was so like frustrated by that experience that night I went home and I went on eBay, and I was like determined to find this issue just to like get it out of spite. And so the number that they quoted me for this particular issue was $20 at the store. I went online that night and I found it for $3 plus $4 shipping. So $7 total. Buy it now. I got it. And sure enough, this thing was 100% complete with the DVD. And that's volume 194. And so I got it. I got it. And it just goes to show I was ready to make a deal and you weren't willing to work with me. So maybe a lesson out there for your store owners. Like, why wouldn't you want to sell it? It's there. I have cash. I want to give you cash. Cautionary tale for all you store owners out there. Back to games. All I have left is Super Nintendo, right? Trying to get a full Super Nintendo set, getting so close. I'm down in the final 100, and it's getting difficult because the games that I need are not out there. You know, I go to stores. Sometimes I'll go to a store. They won't have a single game that I need, and that happens a lot now. But I have been able to whittle it down a little bit more thanks to some friends. And the first friend I'm going to mention is none other than Vintage Video Game Geek. Some of you might know he lives in Arizona, which is where the Game On Expo takes place, which was created by Gamester81, among others. And I wasn't able to go this year, which was unfortunate. I was really looking forward to it, but I happened to be out of town that weekend, and so I asked Vintage, hey, here's the list of stuff I need. Can you just look out for me if they have any of these? And Vintage was kind enough to do just that. And so he knocked off some commons that I needed, which is great. And so thank you, Vintage. And here's what Vintage got me. Super Strike Eagle. Again, not very hard to find, but such a nice label on that one. And then Super High Impact. That's a football game. Super Bowling. Got to be getting close to finishing the subset of super games, or games with super in the title. Rise of the Robots, which is a just terrible, terrible game. And finally, Tecmo Super Baseball. Again, got to be getting close to getting all the Tecmo games. Actually, I wonder if this was the last one I needed. No, there was one more. There was one more. And so that's what Vintage got me. So again, thank you, Vintage, for that. But let's get back to Matt Bandy. So I said Matt Bandy came down and visited. And he too was on the lookout for me. So thank you, Matt, for helping me out trying to complete my Super Nintendo collection. And I kid you not, the very day that these games arrived from Vintage, Matt Bandy came into town and he said, hey, I got some games for you. And lo and behold, what does he also give me? Super Tecmo Baseball. I couldn't believe it. Super funny. So now I have 2 copies of this game. But I really appreciate you guys looking out for me. That's really cool. And he also brought me Clue, which amazingly I didn't have. It's not a hard to find game, but I just didn't have it. And then a couple other things he gave me, which I don't think he meant to give me this. He gave me a bunch of Universal game cases, and one of them had this in there. Did you mean to give me this, Matt Bandy? The Excite-Byte instruction manual? If not, I'll give it back to you. I don't really need it. I don't even own Excite-Byte. But, yeah, so that was in there, just so you know. And then Matt Bandy is also a perler art wizard. He makes all sorts of really cool perler art. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could commission him and he'd make whatever you want. But he knows I'm a big Mega Man fan, Mega Man X being my favorite game of all time. And he got me this cool Mega Man X perler art thing. And what's cool about this is it has these like foot pads, so you don't just hang it on the wall. You can actually like set it on a shelf. See that? And it stands up. And so I have this on one of my shelves right now. But how cool is that? Ooh. Don't worry. It's supposed to come off like that. There you go. See? So there you go. And that's what Matt Bandy got me. Thank you, Matt. That was so cool of you. Now we get down to the last few Super Nintendo games. This is one that I've been looking for a while. Again, I passed on it a lot because I never found it with a good label. This is the best label I've ever seen. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And that's College Football USA 97. Bam. Another football game. And then Chester Cheetah had a couple games on the Super Nintendo. Too Cool to Fool and Wild Wild Quest. I already had Too Cool to Fool, but now I found Wild Wild Quest, which means I have both Chester Cheetah games. Subset complete. Ooh, that feels good to say. Feels really good to say. You know what doesn't feel good to say? Koei. Koei. I have nothing against Koei. I just think they make really boring games for the Super Nintendo. And I hate, they're usually like kind of spendier because they have big boards and batteries and all sorts of stuff. And so when you find them and you're collecting, they're usually like $30 or so. And this was one of the games I needed. So I picked up Nobunaga's Ambition. And to the best of my knowledge, I believe I have one Koei game left to get, and that's Rise of the Phoenix. So I can't say, you know what, just yet, but I'm almost there. And remember when I mentioned before I needed one more Tecmo game? I totally got it, and I'm pretty sure I can finally say subset complete now that I have Tecmo Super Bowl 2. And if you know about the Tecmo Super Bowl games, this is the hardest one to find, and it's the more spendier of the 3 that came out for the Super Nintendo. It's Tecmo Super Bowl 2 Special Edition. Really minty copy. Found this, and I haggled it down. Got it for a good price. So subset complete on that. Next, another sports game, soccer game, but one of the more uncommon soccer games out there for the Super Nintendo, and that's Head-On Soccer. I think I only have a couple soccer games left. 2 big ones, though, the International Superstar Soccer games, which can be a little spendy. And then, Prehistoric Man. Huh? I remember passing on this years ago, and I have never seen it since. So this was the first time I'd seen it in like 2 or 3 years, and so I finally picked it up. Really nice copy. And finally, last but not least, not really a creme de la creme, but it's a really cool game, and that is Operation Logic Bomb. And why is it cool? Because it's the last Super Nintendo game that starts with the letter O that I needed, which means, oh my gosh, subset complete. Bam! And there you go. That's what I got for this installment of Booty Bonanza. Lots of stuff. I'm just excited that I get to put it away now because it just sits on my desk until I do these Booty Bonanzas. But anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Until next time, boyfriend.